Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. This is the exact same video I made last week in Hindi. So you can skip this video if you have already watched the Hindi version before. I'm doing this in English now for my friends who don't understand Hindi. I actually recorded this back in July 2023 during our Fiji vacation, and this was our second day there. And this footage is from the early part of the day. So come along and we will take a walk along the beach. You know, my friends, this area actually belongs to Nanaku Resort, and the resort owns about 500 acres of land along the beach. There is no one around here because it is a private beach. Only the guests in this resort are allowed to roam the beach, so you won't see many people nearby. But honestly, I don't love that, because beaches feel better when they are lively with people and their kids playing in the water. You see the pets running along the shore. That is when it feels so nice. Anyways, today we have been told by the resort staff not to get into the water because of the choppy weather. After the morning walk, I came back to the villa, but here I see something funny happening. I left the door open by mistake when I went out for the walk, and a baby crab wandered in. And it was quite difficult to get it out. So Deepak looked around for something to move it around, but he couldn't find anything, so he got the welcome greetings card. And now he is trying to lift that up with the greetings card. Looks like finally he is able to get it, and he's going to leave it out in the patio. But you know what? This is a baby crab, so it got super confused. It didn't know which way is the ocean, which way to go, so it was sitting there quietly for a few minutes. Then Deepak decided to leave it out at the ocean. By now the weather has changed. It was sunny before in the morning and now it's completely cloudy. Also, it's time for breakfast. So let's head to the main lobby to grab some breakfast. Alright friends, we are now at the lobby and there is this man playing guitar. He is an indigenous Fijian but with a mix of Polynesian background. And I can tell that he is also single. How? Because in Fiji there is a custom that if an individual is single, they tuck hibiscus in their left ear, signaling people like, hey, I'm kind of dateable, I'm single. It's almost like they're flashing their relationship status. Whereas a person married has to tuck the hibiscus on their right ear. By the way, my friends, I'm facing a common dilemma as a new YouTuber. My subscribers come from many different regions. Many are from India speaking Hindi or Bengali, while there are others who are from the United States and they prefer English. And instead of solely relying on YouTube analytics, I have decided to experiment by posting videos in both Hindi and English, and I'm going to see which one gets better engagement. And based on that, I'm going to decide the language. The breakfast was complimentary, which means we didn't have to pay for it. We had coffee, pancakes, eggs, omelets, hash browns, croissants, cereals, banana bread, and orange juice. It was a good spread of, I think, American style or English style breakfast. And the hotel staff are super friendly. After breakfast, we played a bit of carom with some of the resort staff, but here they call it vidi vidi, which is what the locals say instead of carom. And I came to know later that this game, vidi vidi, came from India, and it's a sibling of carom. And later we headed back to the villa, and this time we didn't take the roads. We walked along the beach, and along the way we saw many coconut trees with low-hanging coconuts, which we could actually pick by our hands. And we collected a few of them. And of course we are going to eat them later. But then we went for kayaking in a river that runs through the resort. And our guide was Robert. He is of Indian origin. By the way, did you know that about 40% of Fijian population are of Indian descent? And I'm going to tell you why. Because Fiji used to be a British colony before. They gained independence in 1970s, pretty recently. And India also used to be a British colony. And during those British colonial times, many of these Indians were brought over here to Fiji to work as indentured labor on sugarcane plantations. And those Indians, they settled down and their descendants are still here today. However, the Fijian Hindi is very different from Indian Hindi. I even tried chatting with Robert in Hindi, but we couldn't understand each other completely. So we decided to stick to English. In Fiji, English is the main language of instruction in schools. Students are taught most subjects in English from a very early age. And they're also taught Fijian, which is their native language, and Fijian Hindi, because a large population are of Indian descent. We got two kayaks and we are paddling upstream. Moving against the current requires quite a bit of effort. This was a long path, so I had some conversations with Robert. I came to know from him that Fijians had a very tough time during the COVID-19 pandemic during the year 2020s. And Fiji relies heavily on tourism. About 40% of their GDP comes from tourism. And the tourism industry completely shut down during the global lockdown period. So people like Robert who work in the tourism industry, they suffered the most. Some families didn't have money to pay their rent or buy food, and they were relying on the food that were growing in the trees. Like life was really tough. And for medicines, they were relying on the branches of the mangrove trees. Though they export agricultural goods like sugarcane, bottled Fiji water, and mahogany wood to the United States, but tourism is their lifeline, and without that, they are in trouble. As we continued kayaking, we saw lots of trees along the river bank, mostly mangroves. In India, you will find mangrove forests too, like in the Sundarban areas in West Bengal. And these trees have special roots. These are aerial roots that grow out of the water. And these roots help them survive in salty, waterlogged condition. And they even have medicinal uses in Ayurveda. I came to know from Robert that these mangroves are also used for cremation. In fact, I learned a lot about the Fijian languages, culture, economy, and their ecology just by interacting with the locals. And I firmly believe that I couldn't have learned so much from a history or a geography book, to be honest with you. We got stuck in the mangrove roots, and this is where Robert showed us a cage that he had placed before. A fish got caught inside that cage and it's called bula fish. Doyle was saying this for the first time and she was a bit hesitant to touch it. She never touched a living fish before, but I think this kind of connection with nature is necessary in early childhood. So Robert is asking Doyle, hold this. Doyle is like, no way I'm doing that. I think he's going to take that back home and make a fish curry out of it. By the way, their fish curry or their chicken curry tastes so much like Indian chicken curry. I tasted it in their restaurant and I'll show you a picture of that some other day. By the way, this place is so peaceful. There is no noise, just nature, and honestly, you don't have to go all the way to Fiji for this. Mangrove forests like this also exist in Indian states like Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, West Bengal, Odisha, and you can find similar beauty right at home. Basically, you will find mangrove forest in any deltas in the tropical and subtropical regions. And deltas are the places or the regions where the rivers meet the ocean. I'm so sorry once again, my friends, for making it sound like geography lecture, and my daughter is not happy with that, and she is saying that my audience will run away if I talk about geography too much, but I couldn't help it. Anyways, it is time for us to turn back the canoe, and now we are going to paddle downstream, which means I'm going to paddle along with the current, so it's going to be easier. By the way, the resort offers other adventures too, like river rafting, and this is a footage of river rafting. I didn't go there because I'm too scared of that. I'm not a very adventurous person, and they offer scuba and snorkeling too. There are a lot of colorful corals in the sea, and between those corals there are colorful fish. Later in the afternoon, we came back to the villa and we relaxed in the swimming pool and the hot tub. And I specifically liked the hot tub because it helped to relax my muscles. My muscles were aching a lot after rowing for about 2 hours. But then out of nowhere, it started raining heavily. So even though the water is hot in the tub, but it's not feeling comfortable because of the water getting on the face and the hair. So I decided to head back indoors and I'm going to end my video here. Bula vinaka! Bula bula! Sabula kuchiko! By the way, those were some Fijian language that I learned during my stay over there. Anyways, I'll see you in another video sometime really soon. Thank you so much for watching and have a nice day. Take care. Bye-bye.